Hey, what's up, guys? Clayton Gits here with my main man, Ryan Zook. So today we're going to touch on why I left a significant organization behind at eXp Realty to make the transition almost 7 months ago now over to Real Brokerage. Tough decision, but there are 4 or 5 reasons why I made the move, and we're gonna talk about that today.
Clayton, thank you for having me here today. I'm super excited to have this conversation. We are friends, business partners, colleagues here. And 6-7 months ago, we started a conversation about Real Broker, and here we are today. You left a massive organization at eXp, and I'm super excited to talk about why and let the viewers know. So how did we get here? And what was the thing that made you have that first conversation?
You. So one of the neat things. It's just funny how life works, right? So I had actually been talking to you about eXp, and we were about to cross the finish line, Ryan, when when you went missing in action, and it's when we kind of caught back up, and you shared with me that you were transitioning and you were not going to move your business over to eXp and instead move over to Real Brokerage. That actually caught my attention at the time. Like why? Like, wait, what? Like, why? Why? Right? And you remember we had these conversations, and they were, of course, you and I talk about how just being respectful of one another, regardless of the jersey that you're wearing, is just so important in this industry. And we had that mutual level of respect, right? So I've always wanted what was best for you and your family, and you felt the same way for me. So that was very important, I think. But when you decided not to come to eXp, that caught my attention. And I think it was, how long was it, Ryan? What was the period of time before you made that transition to when I made my transition? Do you remember? It's about a year.
So
A year.
I had joined Real Broker, and I had been with Real Broker for about a year and a half before you made your transition. So I'm just about the 2 year
Got
mark.
it. Okay. Yeah. So I had reached back out. We're going to touch on the reasons here. Really the top 5 reasons why I reached back out to you. And we had stayed in touch, of course, along the way, I was, still, holding out hope that you had made a mistake and you were going to come and partner with us at eXp, but you were also throwing some stuff at me that was intriguing. So yeah, about a year and a half after you made that transition, I reached out to you and wanted to learn more. And so, I think one of the initial conversations that you and I had was, tell me about do you remember what you said to me when I asked you to tell me about the culture? Like, to describe the culture. Do you remember what you said to me?
I tell people it's hard to explain until you're here, but it is unlike anything I've ever seen. I've been selling real estate for 23 years, and now that you're 7 months in, how would you describe it?
Yeah. So it's interesting, man. I thought it was a cop out when you said that. I was like, come on, man, describe this culture thing to me. And you said, Clayton, I can't. I've tried, and you have to experience it for yourself. And you're right. Now that I've been here for almost 7 months, I think this concept of, this one culture, one network, one real leadership, absolutely, walking the talk from the top down. I mean, that's important. Everything rises and falls on leadership. So, not putting up with any craziness. There's a lot going on in our industry. There's a lot of good things, but there's also a lot of, there's some things that are not so good. And from the top down, just knowing that this company doesn't tolerate any nonsense was refreshing. Number one, the fact that we are not, and this is important for people that are comparing the two models. There's this word that gets thrown around a lot that's called a silo. And so when I was at eXp, I had an organization. At one point in time, we had 3,400 agents in our global organization. When I left, we had about 1,540 agents in the organization. And I had what was called a silo, which was we're basically building a brokerage within a brokerage. I was responsible for 6 weekly masterminds at one point in time in order to compete against all of the other little individual silos that had popped up, throughout the culture at eXp. And to be fair, I think I want to give both sides of this here, because culture was the number one reason that I made the move, Ryan. But I want to be fair, of course, to both sides here. If the problem that I ended up seeing with the silos were that if you were in the quote unquote wrong silo, you felt like you weren't a part of the cool kids club, because you didn't have access to their coaching, their training. That's kind of how we were taught. If you weren't a part of my, little brokerage within a brokerage, then you didn't have access. It was the benefit for partnering with me was you had access to the coaching, the training, the mentorship, the listing tools, the buyer tools, the technology that we were building within this little, little company within a company. And what began to happen early on, frankly, Ryan, was that the overall value of the brand, which was eXp in that case, was diluted because all of these other value propositions were popping up. Now, if you were a part of the right organization, then what I'm about to say didn't matter as much, right? But if you were not, if you were on the outside looking in, then it started to create this division, right? So you had people that were saying, hey, come and join my organization because we're going to give you all of this quote unquote free stuff, right? We're going to give you access to A, B, C, D, E, right? And this other organization that you're talking to, they just can't compete with us, right? They can't give you what we can give you. Well, clearly that's going to not only dilute the value of the overall brand, which was eXp, but it begins to create division amongst the agents that are in this greater community. And so much so that you had, unfortunately, you had some bad actors, many amazing. I have a lot of good friends that are of course still at eXp, a lot of leaders that are still there, but you have bad actors in any company. And so unfortunately you had people that were literally saying, hey, to other eXp agents that just happened to be in a different organization, that they were reaching out to members of that organization saying, hey, did you know that you could leave the company for 6 months and then come back and join my organization because we're going to give you access to more stuff than this one's going to give you access to. And that frankly was was really the nail on the coffin for me, because I as much as I tried to put the kibosh on that, it just continued to happen even in my local market. So this concept, yeah, please.
Yeah, so flipping it on its head, here at Real, and you asked me this early on, you said, okay, how much training development are you doing for your network? And I didn't even understand what you were saying because I had never been a part of the eXp concept. And so here at Real, we call it One Real, from the training and development to the culture. I mean, talk about your experience in 7 months. I know what I love about this, but for your viewers, talk about One Real.
Well, and again, that's what it led to. I had an interesting conversation with an agent last week that is actually at eXp, and she's looking at Real, and she said this to me, and I thought it was really interesting. She said, this sounds like a very socialistic concept, talking about Real, and versus you have an influencer, right? And this is I want to be very upfront and fair to both sides here, because people, when they're making a decision about one of these companies, look, this concept of one culture, one network, one Real may not be for everybody, and that's totally okay. So when she said this to me, she said, look, so what about these influencers that are coming, to eXp? Why can't they take advantage of their brands and of their coaching companies and of all the things? And my response to her was, well, first of all, I was like, that's a great question. But my response to her was, they can. They absolutely can. And those people exist at Real, and they do. You just can't use it as incentive to barter with someone versus another EXP. Like, you can't knock people over the head with your value proposition to say that, hey, when you're talking to two people at the same time, and let's say that you and I are a great example, Ryan. So you're having a conversation with me, and all of a sudden somebody swoops in and they say, hey, listen, I know you're talking to Ryan, and I know you guys are boys, but Ryan can't do for you what we can do for you, right? So you really need to consider coming and partner with us, because we can give you more stuff. Now, this concept of One Real turns that on its head, and it says, actually, what if all of us gave all of our very best stuff to the entire community? And it's this abundance mindset versus this scarcity mindset. And again, Ryan, it's not for everybody. Like, if you're a major influencer and you've built your organization, and there are a handful of them that have built their organizations off of, coaching companies and then offering, quote unquote, free coaching to their little individual units, then you might not be attracted to this model where you're giving that, everything away to the greater community. When I say giving everything away, I want to be clear here, because you also have, like, if you want to sell paid for coaching, then you can sell paid for coaching. Like, we have a whole bunch of those high level people here at Real, but that's different from saying, if you join my organization, what I'm charging all these other people out here for, you get all that stuff for free, and Ryan can't offer you what I can offer you. And here's why: because it just creates silos, and I believe this, silos kill culture. It creates this when you put two magnets together on the wrong ends, right, and they repel. It creates this. That's what it creates. And so here's what it came down to for me, and for many others as well, is I was spending probably 75% of my time, Ryan, on coaching and training and developing all of these programs for my little individual group. And it was detracting from the main thing. What's the main thing, Ryan, for you and I? What's the main thing for us, for most of us as real estate agents?
Culture?
Our businesses, our real estate businesses, right? And not to mention our families, our faith, all the other things that come along with life. And I was just consumed, and many others are as well. So here's what happens. It stops being eXp or XYZ, Realty company, and it starts becoming these little individual units, right? Instead of the brand. So Real flipped that on its head and said, you know what? We're One Real, one culture, one network. And again, man, it's such a kind of radical concept that you're right. You have to almost live it to understand it. But to be able to plug into Real Academy and have the best of the best pouring out, all of their value into the entire Real community and lifting everybody up. And it's hand up, not hand out, right? I mean, we're just, you got to do the work. You still got to do the work. But what an incredible contrast to these other models. And it's different, man. As I said, it's not for everybody, but it's certainly something that I've really appreciated over the past 7 months.
Yeah, what's great about this too is, if you have somebody in your market or somebody you've been in relationship with, and they want to start a YouTube channel, or they want to become a massive investor, or whatever it may be, you get to plug them into resources at other parts of the country or other parts of specialties, and you don't have to fight over these people. And so this One Real concept, like I said, it is one of those things that when you're here, it's really exciting. It's really refreshing. When we're all invested in the growth of the company, it's really exciting because everybody wants to see everybody win. And so that abundance mindset, like you said, you hit the nail on the head right there. So
yeah,
super exciting. And what I also love is, the sneaker game, the content creation.
you say sneaker game?
The sneaker game. Yeah. It's the culture is cool and edgy. The branding is fresh. So yeah, that's
I
exciting.
want to circle back and just wrap up the first point about culture, because I think it's important. This is not for everybody, right? I mean, it's just not. There are certain people that would just not work well within this culture, and that's okay, right? There are options, there are options out there in the industry for everybody, and you know to kind of transition from that into what you just said, Ryan, about the brand. One of the things that has become very apparent to me about the Real brand is that it's relatively unknown in the realtor world, right? And that's a good thing. Because when you're building a brand and you're especially with the way that Real has decided to build this brand on social, and we're showing up as this, as you said, this very edgy, hip, cool, awesome sneaker game, but we're showing up as with a really positive branding message, and that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
I mean, there's no ickiness. Some people will talk about ickiness of different brokerages, or staleness of different brokerages, or discounting of. I mean, every brokerage over
I think
time gets a stigma, and
yep.
you're absolutely right. We are early enough into this, and one of the things that our leadership talks about, as you know, is really just keeping this culture. What does Sharon always say? You know it. Bigger is not better.
Yeah, but yeah, bigger's not better. Better is better. Yeah, and also
Yeah.
also Ryan, one of the first questions I asked, Tim Macy and Brad, both that have these massive networks, is aside from the question of like, guys, are you just like spending all your time like coaching and training and mentoring your these massive networks? And they were like, they both had like kind of giggled. I was like, what's so funny? And they said Clayton, no, one real, brother. Like everybody gets plugged into their coaching and training, but they're coaching and training within Real Academy. Like they're giving their very best stuff back to the entire community. And it's very rare in this uber competitive space that we're all in to have a community of 21, soon to be 22,000 agents that are all in this to help one another. And and if you think about it from a common stock standpoint, Ryan, like we all own a piece of this company. If you're producing, you own a piece of this company. And so shouldn't we want everybody to win anyway, right? So what I asked them after I asked that question was, well, what's your attrition, right, within your organizations? And again, I think if you're watching this is something else that is really important. Both of them said on separate conversations to me, Ryan, they both said that their attrition was between 7 or 8%. Well, if you know anything about this industry, the attrition right now, it's probably above 30%, but historically, the attrition rate in our industry with brokerages, agents are either leaving the industry or leaving brokerages at a rate of about 30%. Well, the attrition at Real today is under 10%. If we can maintain that as we scale, as we go to 30, 50, 70, and beyond, it's going to be really special, because it's not easy growing brokerages, right? But when you can retain people, and I think it speaks to the culture, and this concept of One Real and just plugging everybody into this community.
Yeah. So when you started exploring, I know you have been watching since I made the decision to move to Real, and we talked every month about what was happening, and obviously Real is starting to get on the map. They're winning award after award, but we're still a relatively young company. And so,
Mhm.
from an opportunity perspective, um, this is what was really exciting for me and why I made the jump um, to a brokerage that nobody had ever heard of. And fast forward, here we are 2 years later. Real, like I said, is winning award after award. But even 6 months ago, when you joined, what excited you about the early opportunity? And I call it an opportunity. You may call it something different, but what excited you about the early opportunity um, in your decision making?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when I was at EXP, and we were actually competing against Real and LPT and Epic and these other startup brokerages in the space, and like Ryan, I think you and I would both agree, like this is the space to be in. The reason that all of these competitors are popping up, and let's give credit where credit is due. Like EXP kicked this whole thing off, so you got to give them credit for that. This whole thing, meaning this virtual real estate company, concept and revenue sharing and stock acquisition programs. But now that you have this very busy space, and there are more coming, there are many more coming. So, what really, I think what really, when I met with Sharon for the first time, and Sharon said to me, he said, Clayton, first of all, he said, bigger's not better, better is better. And he said, we are not trying to be the largest real estate company in the world. We are trying to create an experience that is so streamlined and so attractive and so positive, not only for our agent partners, but also for their clients. And we're going to talk about that piece in just a minute. And that experience and this foundation of culture, that'll take care. The growth will take care of itself, right? But there's no like, we want to be the largest real estate company in the world, and that actually spoke to me. And then when he started talking about, and I already knew this, like when I was at EXP and people at Real all the time, you being one of them, would say, Clayton, ground floor opportunity. That's why, it was one of the reasons that you left, right? Was for this ground floor opportunity. And I didn't understand it until I was here. And so the growth that has taken place for both of us in the past, as I said, almost 7 months, to go from zero, because I started over, to almost 1,000 agents. I mean, we very likely could hit 1,000 agents by the end of this month, and that, I mean, what a gift, right? But it's because it's ground floor. Like people because they don't know about it, because the brand is so positive, because people are so excited about this opportunity, they're excited about the space, but when they learn about everything that Real has to offer, the value proposition, it's really hard. It's really hard to actually say no to this opportunity once you fully understand it. So that kind of growth is really hard in these other models. It's really, and we're seeing people, I mean, the reason that you and I are growing so fast is because other people within our network are growing so fast. They're experiencing growth right now in the past, 5 to 7 months that they did not experience. These are influencers too, that they did not experience in their previous, brokerage models. And it's exciting. They're excited, and our partners are excited.
So you're talking specifically about revenue share, but for something that I care about, and I think you really care about right now, is this ground floor opportunity with the stock. And so when I joined, the stock was around $2, 250, somewhere around there. It's obviously growing, and stocks go up, stocks go down. But what Real is putting into place may change the entire game, and that's what's really exciting. But I've seen agents that are part of our team and agents that are joining. I mean, even 6 months ago, 3 months ago, that are starting to participate and see some stock growth. What are you excited about in terms of that opportunity?
Yeah. Well, as you said, stocks go up, stocks go down, and so this is certainly not a we're not giving anybody any financial advice here, but what I will say is, and we can kind of lead into one of the other points about why I made this move, and this is one of the bigger reasons why I made the transition, and that is the technology, and specifically the financial technology. And if you look at what is happening specifically with Real over the past 18 to 24 months, I would say, Ryan, with their technology, is they've clearly taken a lead in the industry with their technology. It's Compass is a great example of a company that's done a really nice job with their technology, but they spent $900 million on their technology package, and I would put our technology up against anyone else's. And I can say that with confidence, Ryan, because one of the largest Compass teams in the entire company at Compass moved over to partner with us at Real, and it's because of our technology, right? So first of all, you had to have the foundation of technology, right? So 5 years of building our tech from the ground up. You've got a platform that not only the desktop version but also the mobile app, iPhone, iOS, Android apps as well, where you can legit run your entire business from the palm of your hand now. So there's no disjointed, ecosystem of technology where you've got multiple websites. You got to go over here to find this. You got to go over here to find this. It's all in one place, and it is so efficient. It is so streamlined, and it's just getting better and better. So, and we're, again, the whole game, right? It's transaction management, all of your, manage your finances, your commission, all of the relevant things to run your business, your marketing, your coaching, your training, everything in one place, right? But 5 years to build that.
I gotta say one thing. You gotta tell me. I tried to get my my team really excited when we were exploring eXp about the eXp world. And I love the little avatars, but we don't have avatars here at Real. And so the majority of agents, specifically a part of our team, just love the efficiency of being able to run everything, their entire business. I mean, even broker support through their app, which is great.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And again, to be fair, like, to eXp and to what they pulled off with eXp world, nobody had ever done that before. Right. So, it was very innovative, and again, when you're at eXp, I understand this and I respect it because I was there for 7 years. You're going to defend everything that is eXp. That being said, I also know the conversations that were happening and the frustrations that were happening with regards to that specific piece, right? It's really hard. And we all know this, those of us that speak a lot on camera, that communicate a lot, because this is kind of the world that we're in now. It's really hard when you're talking to an avatar. It's hard when you're talking to, it's like a Sims type of reality. When this is how we are all used to communicating, is in like it or not, this is just the world that we live in, is via Zoom. I want to be able to see your expression. I want to be able to see if you're happy, you're sad, it leads to a more, in my opinion, to a more effective communication, right? So I'm teaching next week in Real Connect, and this week actually, gosh, time's flying, on Wednesday, and it's going to be on this platform, on Zoom, and so I want to be able to see my audience and see like who is actually participating and who is not participating, and if people are actually engaged. Do I need to increase my pitch, or you have to, it's a part of communication, is that visualization, right? So that, I think that was the biggest issue that most people had with the eXp world, and who knows, like if I know anything about Glenn, most likely they're trying to come up with a solution for that to make it more, more quote unquote real. But back to tech. Yeah. Yeah. So back to the technology, again, 5 years to build the technology, foundation. And then this financial technology component that Real is launching, I believe in October at our conference. I think you would agree, Ryan, it's gonna change the game. And so, and it's one of the main reasons when Sharon, you pointed out, Sharon did a deeper dive with me, then Pratesh did an even deeper dive with me, our Chief Technology Officer. And when I really understood it, I personally think it's going to revolutionize the industry. And so when in a few months, when all of our agents receive a real debit card and a real credit card, and they have the ability to, that debit card will be connected with a digital wallet, which will be called the Real Wallet. And we will have the ability to access our commission income instantly. There's no more waiting 24 hours, 48 hours. It's an instant transfer between banking accounts. So we get paid same day as soon as as soon as Real closes the transaction. But also to have access to revenue sharing as it accrues through this technology as well. And by utilizing this financial technology, the debit card and or the credit card, to be able to earn points, just like you would with an American Express card or a Capital One Venture card, for example, and utilizing those points to offset your not only your brokerage fees and your transaction fees, but potentially down the road, your cap as well. So if you're a producing agent and you're at Real, you'll be able to, offset the cost associated with running your business here significantly, if not eliminating it altogether at some point. So that's fun. That's exciting. The credit card will come preloaded with a dedicated line of credit. And this just blew my mind. And that line of credit will be based on the unique assets that you and I push through the company: past transactions, pending transactions, revenue share, stock, vested and unvested, et cetera, et cetera. And when we utilize that or access that line of credit, we will also earn points, right? And we can use those points to offset our fees. So all that is leading to, at some point, Real wants to be the bank. We will be the first, I believe, real estate company in the world that actually, is a bank. And in that scenario, we are going to open up lending options, almost like crowdfunding for our agents. So when a notification in the future, a notification appears on your phone, Ryan, and it says, Ryan, there's a $50,000 capital need within the Real community, which at some point in the future could be 100, plus thousand strong. This person's already underwritten and pre-approved. Ryan, would you like to participate in lending at 9%? You click accept, and then this technology, where it's headed, will be a platform where you and I will be able to participate in lending. All that to say, back to the potential for this stock. If we pull this off, and if we can drive adoption of this financial technology, it'll be worth more than the brokerage itself. And I think it's one of the reasons our profitability as a company, our growth as a company, but it's one of the reasons why the Russell 2000 and Russell 3000 indexes picked us up at the end of June, was because of this financial technology. So we're all, I think, very bullish on the stock, but we'll see. As you said, stocks go up, stocks go down. We'll see where this thing, lands in the next 12, 24, 36 months. But I do think it's an opportunity to pay attention to.
People don't realize, and this is something that I had to learn. I mean, I've run a real estate business for 23 years, and most brokerages are based on the value of the revenue from agents' commissions. And then there are brokerages that will add ancillary services, title, mortgage. But when you can start to receive revenue from those interchange and merchant fees from purchases of us being the bank, the opportunity is massive for the company and all of us as investors. And to be honest with you, this is one of those things that, I mean, I don't know how you bet against it. And that's the exciting thing. And so what's happened in the last, year to date, our stock is the only real estate stock to have gone up. And I think it's right around 250% year to date of growth, where most brokerages that are publicly traded are seeing a decline. And so I'm super excited about this, and I'm excited about it for the agents that are here. I'm excited for the agents that join, for them to be on this ride with us. So let's shift gears real quick, and let's just talk about some of the back end systems that are really, really great that you have loved here at Real. Obviously, there's the wealth plan, Real Signatures platform, obviously being able to access marketing assets in the Real Academy and run our business. But what other tools do you love, having been here for now 7 months?
So, let me say this. I think that when people, because I love showing off the technology. I've had hundreds of Zoom calls over the past 7 months that I made this transition, and my favorite part of presenting this opportunity to people that are interested is walking them through the technology. And so I think my favorite part is that we have a technology team that understands the industry, right? They understand the issues that we face as agents, and this back to this idea of creating an experience for agents. I asked this question of Sharon early on because transitioning from eXp and seeing the challenges that that any company in the space is going to face when you're giving away 50 to 60% of top line revenue. I mean, it's hard to think about as a business owner, right? You and I have large teams. It's hard to think about giving away 50% of our top line revenue, right? And so, so what Sharon said when I asked them this question, I said, how are you going to maintain the integrity of this model? Like, how do we know that as we continue to scale, you're not going to have to tweak the revenue sharing, model again for agents that participate in that? It's actually really important, because it's a lot of work, helping, being a part of growing the company, especially those of us that have significant organizations. So what he said to me, I thought was very telling. He said, Clayton, there's only one way to do it. There's only one way to do it without the model breaking, and it's through technology. And so I think one of my favorite components, and something that's not talked about a lot, is where we're going with our artificial intelligence. The fact that I think we're so much further down the path with our AI, which is called Leo, and AI, as we all know, the more you utilize it, the more you speak to it, the smarter it gets. And so because it's fully integrated throughout the entire, all of the real tools and resources, all you have to do is speak to Leo and ask for a contract or a closing date or some marketing collateral or any question that you can really think of. If the information exists anywhere within the Real ecosystem, Leo's going to grab it and put it front and center. When that shows up on the consumer side, I had a really interesting conversation a couple weeks ago with someone that was interested in Real, and I can't remember if you were actually on that call or not, Ryan, but they said when you utilize technology to streamline, to create an experience for our clients, isn't that getting away from the relationship? Like, what is that doing to the relationship that is the agent and and our clients? I thought it was a great question, right? Because I think it is a problem in this digital age of separating those two. However, what is the one company that has taken technology where there's really no relationship at all? What is one company that you can think of in the real estate space that has dominated? It's not a brokerage yet, but that has dominated and has taken over, and we could argue that's taken market share, most of the market share in terms of eyeballs. What company is that?
In terms of eyeballs for
home search, Zillow. It's Zillow. But why? Why? It's the experience. It's the experience, the access of information, Ryan, but it's the experience that consumers have when they go to Zillow. The information is instant. They get their Zestimate. They can search for homes. They can get an instant cash offer. All of the things, right? And so what Real is doing, if we can grab a portion or, hopefully a significant portion of that market share, because we're creating an experience for our clients through our consumer app that has never been done before, then we win, because those clients are coming back to our platform, which of course will be Real. It will be the Real platform. And then that's where we step in. And then you and I provide the level of service that you and I provide based on our, our own unique, value and what we believe, how we believe our clients should interact with our clients, right? So I'm really excited where all of that is going. And And again, you can't pull off the fintech without the technology. And we have over 100 people that are working on our technology team. So like weekly, I get the app says, "Hey, you need an update," because they're tweaking and they're updating and make it more efficient, and making the experience better for all of us.
Yeah. So the experience for agents is built, and we're able to run our businesses super efficient. I do know our leadership team has said, from a consumer perspective, when the consumer facing app rolls out, they want the consumer experience to be so great that they tell their friends about it, and then their friends want to use Real Agents. And that's super exciting that our brokerage is giving us the tools to be able to offer that. One thing that's been really exciting from a technology standpoint that has really separated us from other brokerages out there is this concept of pro teams. And pro teams has given us the ability to work with independent brokerages and the private label concept. And so for those that have no idea what that means, share what you're seeing and why some brokerages are choosing to plug in to our technology specifically.
So and I would argue that while private label is not a technology driven solution, so to speak, or rather, let me rephrase that. It actually is a technology driven solution, but it's not in itself technology, right? Without our technology, it's not possible. It's private label is not possible. There's a company out there called Side that you and many others are familiar with. It's a technology company that lots of teams and agents are plugging into so that they can keep their own brands. And so I think it was just a brilliant move by Sharon to come up with this concept called private label, and it's going to be powered by, as will all of our teams, powered by pro teams, right? So private label, again, not possible without our technology, gives independent brokerages the ability to plug into everything that Real offers, the technology, the coaching, the training, the revenue sharing component, the stock acquisition program, Real Academy, the marketing, everything, right? Without changing their brands at all. And it will be available in, probably just about every state in the next several months. There are a couple of states, I think, Ryan, that are they're just really hard to deal with overall. But if I know Sharon and his team, they'll come up with a solution. But to not only not change your brand, but to be able to write contracts in the name of your existing independent brokerage. Ryan, I underestimated how important this was to these independent broker owners. And so the biggest challenge, I should say, one of the biggest challenges for these independent brokerages, let's say you have a team of 50, independent agents in your indie brokerage. And sitting down with them to say, hey, we're thinking about shutting down our independent brokerage and partnering with this other model called Real, for example. One of the biggest challenges is saying to your 50 agents is, this is going to cost you more. It's going to cost you more. Most normal agents are going to say, no. Well, the first question is, well, how much? And then no. I'm here because of the value proposition and the costs associated with running my business here. Well, with pro teams, as a broker owner, you have the ability to pay your agents pretty much any way that you see fit. And so you can actually, through our tech, some of us that have large teams, certainly independent brokerages that have large organizations, they pay different agents differently. That's just the nature of the business. If you've been with the brokerage for a long time, you might be grandfathered in on a certain payment program. If you're a top producer, you might have a different split than brand new agents. With pro teams, you can manipulate, and you have almost complete control over how you pay your agents. So much so that if you wanted to absorb all of the costs associated with running their business at Real, which are not much to begin with, or if you just wanted to absorb a portion, if you wanted to add on an admin fee or an admin fee for a specific group of agents in your brokerage, it's a very sophisticated technology program that makes this private label program make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, pro teams, it's one of those, like when you go to Subway, it's like your sub your way. However, whatever the slogan was, and that may not be Subway, but the concept that however you run your brokerage and however you run your team, you get the opportunity to plug in and have the same setup. And it's been a game changer. And honestly, when they introduced this at the beginning of the year, our stock price went up by quite a bit. And we are seeing brokerages of anywhere from 10 to 500 people so far joining in to this model. And so the proteins concept, I love the ability that it gives ultimate flexibility for people to plug in, and then brokerages can make decisions on I mean, who's going to help with broker support and stuff like that. But
Brian, as you know, we've onboarded 7 independent brokerages in the past 7 months because of this, private label program. So it's been really exciting. Hey, let's end around and wrap up with leadership.
Yeah. So I've obviously had an opportunity to be a part of Real before Sharon. And so I've gotten a chance to get to know Tamir and Pratesh, and then Sharon has been here for a year and a half and is amazing. Now we get a chance to be a part of shaping the culture and where this brokerage is going with our leadership team. And so what would you say is something that you've loved about getting to know all of the key players here?
Yeah. I think that the biggest thing for me is that they walk the talk, and they are committed from the top down, from the founder Tamir to Sharon, the entire leadership team, to maintaining this idea of One Real and the culture, and that we're all wearing the same jersey. We're gonna help each other. This industry's hard enough without us, trying to tear each other down to lift ourselves up. And I think it was really pronounced with the recent NAR, settlement changes, when Sharon stepped up and not only created with his team, created a very robust program for educating our clients, our buyers and our seller clients on how to communicate. Like what is this? What is the NAR settlement? How do we communicate commissions to our? How do we have that conversation? And so his team created the framework of how to navigate through that. And he not only obviously opened that up for all of us at Real, but he opened it up for the entire industry. And one of the things he said as he was kind of presenting this was, we need to do a better job of leading with kindness. And I think saying that out loud, Ryan. I know how some people are going to listen to this and say, "Oh, that's so frou-frou," I love it. I love it. This business is hard, and we just went through the most significant change in our industry in our lifetime, and it shouldn't matter whether you're working for Coldwell Banker, Keller Williams, eXp, Real. We should be lifting each other up and working together to make the industry better, ultimately for our clients to have a better experience as it relates to us and helping them achieve their goals and their dreams. And that's what sustains this, these models. If we don't have real estate clients because we're too busy tearing each other apart and not coming up with solutions to compete against all these other platforms that are trying to put us out of business, then we're going to become irrelevant. And so I just, aside from just having a connection with Sharon, I have not come across another leader ever, and I've been around some of the best, Gary Keller, Glenn Sanford. I have never come across someone that works as tirelessly. I don't know how he does it. That's why people were joking about him being artificial intelligence earlier this year, because he still does his 5 a.m. club. The guy still he gets up at 5 a.m. West Coast time every morning, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, to deliver value to this community that he's built, on top of running the brokerage, on top of doing Zoom calls for you and I, on top of presenting to the industry, on top of all the travel, on top of being a dad. I'm just so impressed with Sharon as a leader. In fact, my biggest concern is Sharon, I think he broke his arm, a while back, and still didn't take any time off. But and then I have to speak to Tamir and Pritesh, the entire leadership team. I've just spent a lot of time with those three. Tamir has taken such a hard stand, understandably so, on how we treat each other, specifically how we treat women. I'm gonna leave it at that. But my first three interactions with him were, it was very clear that he will not tolerate any nonsense in this company. And he was speaking to all of the leaders, and that obviously filters down from him to us and to hopefully the rest of the community. And then Pritesh is just a savant, our chief technology officer, and what he's putting together, and hopefully what we're going to pull off with our technology and our financial technology. That's another one of the big reasons why I'm here, is because of our leadership.
Yeah, I mean, the work hard, be kind mentality, it's easy to say, but when you see the leadership put it into practice every single day, and it just filters down, I mean, to the people who have large organizations, down to the brand new agents that have just joined this brokerage. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. And so it's been a really exciting almost 7 months to be here, partnered and in community with you. I mean, nobody thought that you would ever leave eXp. And I mean, I didn't think I'd ever leave eXp. I mean, I told my family, I told our leadership team, I was like, this is a Hail Mary. I mean, who leaves eXp with almost 1,500 agents, or over 1,500 agents, and everything that you have built? And here we are 7 months later. And I'm just so excited to be in community with you. And I'm excited about where this company is going. And I know you are too. I know you're really excited. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for being here. You've been working tirelessly with me. And again, I want to give credit back to Glenn Sanford for creating this new space. And Glenn is also an exceptional leader. And there are so many challenges with building big businesses. And I know he's been through it. I watched him go through it, and he's done a great job of navigating his way, through not only, what's happened in the past, but, probably what's going to happen in the future. So I want to give a lot of credit to Glenn and to the people that are at eXp. It's an incredible company, an incredible model. It was just time for a change. And I hope that these, 4, 5, or 6, I lost track of the I think it was about 5, big reasons why I personally decided to make the transition from eXp over to Real Brokerage. Thank you so much for your time, and we'll talk to you soon.